Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Yeah.
The views expressed by J. Michael McCoy are the views of the hosts and guests of Max World Live, and not necessarily the views of Webcast One Live, its staff, its management, the cleaning crew, Dave the electric guy, the guy who cleans the skywalk, the woman who brought in the cookies, the management staff of Hubble Real Estate, the parking lot attendant at Keck Parking, the wait staff over at Miss Kitty's, the coffee crew at Frederick's, the man in the street corner willing to work for food, Rob Spearman, Max Crab, or anyone else of sound mind. Should you be offended, provoked, intimidated, shocked, confused, or just made to think independently, log on to maxworldlive.com right now. It's your voice we want to hear in Max World. And now, live from the palatial studios of Webcast One Live, your host, J. Michael McCoy.
Thank you, Michael Libby. Good afternoon. We are live here on The View from a Pew on a Tuesday afternoon. I'm going to date this show because some of the things that will be talked about today will be timely. It is the 21st day of April in the Lord's year 2015. Tom Coates in the house today, and our special guest is Brad Zaun, state senator, and we're going to go through some of the things going on in the State House. But first, breaking news. You've heard me talk about how the radio station is expanding into Des Moines. And we are building studios as we speak here in the Des Moines market. And the radio station will be expanding throughout central Iowa with about a 60 to 70 mile coverage area from the state capitol. Starting on the first week in May. You know what the date is quicker than I do. But starting on May 4th, this program will move to 2 to 3 in the afternoon. Now we're 3 to 4. 2 to 3. And the man that you like to hate more than anybody in the whole world, Steve Deace, will be live from 3 in the afternoon till 5 in the afternoon, just like the good old days driving home on WHO. So beginning May 4th, the schedule will change. I'll be on from 2 to 3. Tom will be here 2 to 3. Are you still going to come?
Yeah.
Is that too early for you? I know you don't like to get up early. Okay. So Tom and I will be on 2 to 3. And then Steve Deace live. Not pre-recorded, not tape-delayed, live on 99.3 The Truth. So he is coming back with vengeance, I'm sure, just in time for the caucuses and everything that happens around the political arena here in Iowa.
And then when do we move our studio?
You and I should be live from our new studio on, it'll be the 18th, and you and I will be on the 19th.
Okay.
Middle of May. So just about 4 weeks from today, we'll be in the new studio.
All right. I don't want to get confused because we're still here for another few weeks then.
Still here for a month.
Yep.
Now, I won't let you mess up. I'll tell you where we're at. And we have a beautiful studio being built at the top of the Merle Hay Mall Tower. Now, for those of you that have been around for a while, that's that 6-story office building that comes out of the back of Merle Hay Mall, kind of like where the old theater was, the big old theater. And we'll have this is so cool. We'll have a southern view and a western view with our studios and high atop the Merle Hay Mall towers.
And they'll give us. You're talking about the abilities at the top of the tower are unique out there. So we're going to have a good area to do some broadcasting from.
Yeah, Merle Hay Mall has been the home of the Iowa State Patrol, the EMT, and I think it's Des Moines Police, maybe, 3 of them, on the top of that building. That's where they have all their communications. So for us to put a 70-foot mast and a 16-foot satellite dish is easy for them. Plus, they're an A1 priority if the power goes out. So should we lose power around the mall, we'll be one of the first people hooked back up by Mid-American.
Important.
Yeah, for a radio station, it's important because those squirrels just can't run fast enough to keep up. So that's all happening over here on the next 4 or 5 weeks. We'll keep you in touch. The expansion into the Des Moines area, if you're listening and driving around Des Moines, you know you lose us. You lose us downtown. You lose us on the south side. That will be changing here in the next 3 or 4 weeks, so just hang with us. All right, and I know Steve Deace is like your idol, isn't he?
Yeah.
No, not at all. No, not at all. But you hate to listen, or you love to hate him.
I just, he's done, I think, on delay on 98.3. Since you left 98 3 years ago, Mac, I have very few opportunities or interest in flipping over that part of the dial. And a couple times when I have, there's Steve Dace, and there's another reason to flip back somewhere else. So, but we were talking the other day about 98.3 having such a small share of the market. But 99.3, I'm excited. I think it's exciting, Mac, that they're coming in. They're bringing some conservative Christian programming into the area. Dace Live is good for them, and who knows what else gets picked up someday. So I think it's a great opportunity, and I'm won't be coming downtown after this so much anymore, but be heading out to old Merle Hay Mall.
Yeah.
Back in the when we started the business back in the late 80s, early 90s, the Sears Credit Central for a while was out there. And then they moved out west to a standalone regional building. But I remember going and talking to the collectors up at the Sears over at the Merle Hay Mall Tower back in the day. So
yeah, that was their number one tenant. So now, as a state legislature, Brad Zaun, are you just thrilled that Steve Dace will be live again from 5 to 6 in the afternoon?
I don't care. Doesn't matter to me.
Steve was always fair
congratulate. No, I've known Steve, and he was coming. My hardware stories about a mower, a snowblower. I like Steve. I get along with Steve. I'm just very happy for both of you and a new location, which is right on the borderline of where the Senate district that I represent.
Really?
Because I have Coles and Yonkers are in the city of Urbandale. People don't realize that.
And the rest of the mall's in Des Moines.
In Des Moines.
Yep.
But I will have to tell you, I frequent that mall because it's very close to where I live. I'm excited because of the accessibility and parking compared to this studio here.
Yeah.
Feeding the meters. But I certainly am honored to be on this show, and congratulations to you, Mac, and certainly Tom. I'm happy for all of you. So.
Well, it's a big deal.
I think it's awesome.
We and when I say we, I'm not the guy. It's Stu Epperson and Chris Roloff and Mike Carbone. I just get to hitch on the back like an old tick on a dog. But these guys 4 years ago put an application into the FCC, and they had 3 people say no. So each one of those turned into 3 hearings. Wow. So they went through 9 hearings.
Was that unusual, Mac?
Yeah,
I mean, that was extraordinary that they had that much opposition they had to wade through.
I don't think it's extraordinary considering that we teach the gospel.
Okay, so you think
that
was part of it?
Persecuted. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I know it was.
We're already being persecuted.
Huh?
With ISIS.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's already going on.
Yeah. So, but, Des Moines, for the very first time in the history, we've never had one of these. Now, back up. KWKY was always pretty good at being a good Christian gospel station. Right. But you'd turn over at night, and they'd have football, and you'd turn on Saturday afternoon, they'd have baseball.
Sure.
And I understand that. That's how they make money.
Right.
We won't do that. We will be 24/7 live, all gospel. And if you go to Grand Rapids, Michigan, or Colorado Springs, or towns that are similar to the size in Des Moines, that Christian talk station usually equals somewhere between a 6 and a 7 share. Well, right now, WHO has a 6.4 share of this market. Right. And number 1 is at 7.5. So 82% of people in central Iowa say they're Christian. And we're going to reach about 1.3 million people. Mm-hmm. So it should be a dramatic gospel, should be a dramatic ministry for everybody here in Des Moines. We've never had something like this. Plus, we're mixing it up with me and Dace and you and, guys like that. So anyway. All right. I keep reading about the state legislator this year. Everybody's mad because we don't have school funding done, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And somebody told me the other day, and if I think long enough, I'll think who, because I'm not trying to hide the name, but it was somebody that works down at the Capitol, and they said, there's no money. They want us to find money to fund something, and there is no money.
Well, there is money. It's projected that we'll spend $7.2 or $7.3 billion, which, by the way, 10 years ago when I started, our budget was $4.3 billion. So there's money. What they're trying to communicate to you, Mac, is that we've made a lot of promises in the past couple of years based on legislation we've passed. Number one, Medicaid expansion. It threw about another 130,000 people on our Medicaid rolls. But we actually budgeted for that. But what happened is we're being penalized from the feds, breaking their promise on how much they would fund our Medicaid because of how we run our books, which are fairly healthy. We have about $1 billion in the reserves and the reserves and the emergency funds. So that's good news. We did property tax reduction. That thing kicks in for around I think it was $68 million new money. Medicaid was I think it was somewhere around $70 million, and then the property tax reduction is a big thing too. So the bottom line here is that is one component. The other component we're looking at long term is what's going on in the ag areas of the state of Iowa. It's no secret that all the commodity prices are lower than what they've gotten in the past, so we have some concerns there in regards to our revenue. Fact is Iowa, from a financial standpoint, we have some great diversification around the Des Moines metro area and the larger metro areas. Right. But fact is, we collect most of our revenue from the backs of agriculture.
Exactly. And I was having a conversation with Governor Branstad just a few weeks ago. We had the reception for the Iowa Prayer Breakfast at Terrace Hill. Since at least we got rid of Culver, we're back to doing. And he came up and we were chatting for a few minutes. And this topic came up, and he said, I don't think many people understand how much of a reduction we're going to look at in terms of revenue. Oh. And, in my old life, Brad, I used to be a commodity futures broker, had a lot of ag clients, and still follow it. And I said, based on what I'm looking at, we're probably 18 months away from a bottom in this. And he said, that's about what we're projecting, too. And so you are exactly right. He obviously knows what he's talking about, and this has been my observation. And some of these people still expect, we can still spend more on schools. We're doing it for the kids. Right. And we've got to spend at least 2 to 3 to 4% more. And that's the kind of asinine attitude that we had from Culver when he walked out the door and the state employees union came in and said they wanted how big an increase in their pay, and he's no problem with me. I'm out the door. You can have whatever you want, and we've been paying for it ever since. Already at that point, Brad, we were one of the biggest disparities of states that I have seen. Over 140% more paid to a state employee versus his private sector counterpart. And he gave them, what was the number, 8-9% increase?
It was a little goodbye present.
Yeah, it was incredible. And we've been having to recover. We haven't fully recovered, but now we're looking at a downswing in the ag economy. And like I say, if my projections are right, we're going to be there for a while. Other people may hope for better, but I think that logically in a deflationary market, which is what we've got, which is why the Fed has been ramping up all of these stimulus packages for years, they're trying to fight the deflation monster. They think it's a monster. Now, we could argue whether it is or not, but it's a deflationary environment. It's a stronger dollar. It's a declining commodity-based market, and given a state that is galvanized towards exporting and selling their ag products, this is not a good time for us. And so if it had been me on education, I'd have started at zero. I said, you'd be lucky to get what you got last year, and if we do any negotiation, maybe we'll get up to 0.5% or 1%. But I think the Republicans were too optimistic when they started at 1.25%. You've got no place to go but up from there.
A couple things to add on to what you said is year 2 and year 3 is when we're really going to have some financial problems based on some past commitments. The commercial property tax reduction really ramps up the next 2 years. So we promised that we would help the cities in regards to that. Medicaid's going to ramp up as well. The education funding, it is not factual. It's being said or reported out there. 0% means $50 million more.
All right, so the conversation continues at the Capitol And not only education, but are we still talking about traffic cameras? I think we are.
Well, we are going to be. So I got a nice little amendment.
We're going to talk about that, the marijuana laws and other things at the state legislature. Phone lines are open if you want to join us, 244-0077, 244-0077, right here on The Truth with Brad Zaun. Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places. Especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart, and it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah!
If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
If you sit in the back pew or the front pew, it's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so call 244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
21 minutes after the hour on this, the 21st day of April in the Lord's year 2015. We date the show because our guest is Brad Zaun. Now, you may be listening to this Saturday from noon to 1, and I don't know if anything will change between now and then, but just know that on this program is recorded live today. If you're listening right now, you're live. Oh, I can't say that. That's a dumb thing to say. If you're listening on Tuesday, it's live. If you're listening on Saturday, it's our best of show that we run with Tom Coates and myself. So
don't try to call us on Saturday.
Don't try to call us on Saturday, but you can call us now. Well, we can call. People could call you on your cell phone. Can I give that out?
Yeah, absolutely. 515-999-0000. Call that and ask for Mac.
Yeah, thanks. So today, Brad Zaun is our guest, state legislator, and we talked a little bit about budget stuff. It just seems that there's so much finger pointing, you know.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate. What is disturbing to me is that there's a lot of misinformation that's out there. It is absolutely wrong that we have not come up with a budget by law 30 days after the governor puts out his budget. Or let me rephrase that. That we don't give the education people their numbers, because that's what the law says. So here we are, May, what is it today? 21st, 22nd, something
April.
like that.
It's still April,
Or
but
April,
we're
yeah.
going to be in May pretty quick.
So anyway, and we still haven't given them their number. I certainly recognize that, we have a responsibility to give an accurate number, which we could give them a fictitious number like was done during the Vilsack and the Culver days. But we want to give them a realistic number that we will, at the time, commit to giving them that money so they're not in a position where they got to cut like crazy like is done in the past.
So what Branstad said yesterday on his news conference is plan on 1.25%. And I think that's the best strategy right now. If you get a little bit more, great. Right. But you probably can count safely on 1.25% increase and go with that, and quit whining that we don't know where we're at. Right. Plan on 1.25%. Right. Don't you think that's fair?
I would agree with him, and I've told my school boards that I've spoke to that are in the district that I represent. I've told them all they're going to get 1% because we've already put that out there. So they're going to have to make some adjustments. The school boards, they had to certify their budget on April 15th, which is a couple days ago, and we'll see what happens. But I would have to tell you, one thing that is kind of bothering me is all the students that are coming down to the Capitol demonstrating. Mm-hmm. Now, I understand that that's their right to do that, but my question is, we're taking them out of the schools, which we mandate how many instructional hours that they have. The other thing is today, I'm not going to say the school, but I got a ton of emails, and I mean literally a ton. I'm sure that it's a class credit thing from high school seniors in a county in southeast Iowa that has sent me emails. And based on some of the emails I've read, I'd like the teacher to spend a little bit more time showing those kids how to complete a sentence, how to punctuate. And these are seniors in high school.
Good point.
Because some of the letters that I've gotten are disastrous.
Well, it's like you say, they're being directed. This is a directed effort by the teachers, probably many of them very active in the Iowa Iowa Teachers Association. And this is, again, this is disgraceful to have put the kids up here as pawns in this game to try to pressure you guys. I think they ought to be held to account, and somebody like you or Branstad ought to call them out on it. Quit using our kids as pawns in your game to try to elicit more money.
Right, and
it
I'm
isn't
not
about money.
To be...
My wife had this conversation with me the other day, Brad, and she said, "Well, we got to be spending more money for the kids." She's listening to this crap, and I said, "Look, it's not about how much money we spend." I said, when you're looking at some of the areas in the country that spend more per capita on education, they have lower standards, lower proficiency standards than some of the places that are spending much less. It isn't about spending more money. We're automatically going to get a better product, which is a better educated kid. Right. We ought to have standards in there, and a lot of times it doesn't have anything to do with the money that we spend.
Well, I'm not trying to be I understand that there's a lot of students that come down to the Capitol for educational purposes, tours, and I think there was a class this week where that was the case. But they are using them for pawns. I had some students in from a Metro Des Moines high school that I went out and spoke with this week. And I mentioned to them, they've got all the talking points that they've been told. Mm-hmm. I mentioned to them, listen, this is not your business to worry about. We will get this worked out. I want you in the classrooms learning, not just coming up here and they're being used. These students are being used. Now, full disclosure, I'm married to an ex-teacher, and there's awesome teachers in the state of Iowa. It's a very minority of this is going on, but every day we're down there, they're bringing kids up there with posters wrapped around their neck that, that some of them I think are a little bit on the disrespectful side. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out.
Well, and it'd be nice if the teachers union would allow, again, you've got a high-quality teacher, but they're not going to be treated any different than the lowest scumbag that's gotten a teaching credential. Right. And you can't get rid of them very easy at all. Yeah. And so you can't hold the kids to the proper standards like we ought to, and you can't hold some of the teachers to the standards. And again, it's the teachers union that's the issue. And I'll bet most of the ones that you're hearing from are activists in the teachers union.
I don't know that. I've not done any research. It's just a handful of schools, and I realize there's way over 300 school districts in the state of Iowa. But
Now, you talked about, Brad Zaun is our guest, Iowa District 20. Now, you talked about these emails that you got, and the English was so bad.
I just got this last email.
And they're seniors.
This is a senior from a school district in southwest Iowa that could not, barely, and I'm not saying I'm the best writer or the best speller or the best punctuator. The punctuation, the spelling, the not making a complete sentence. This is several emails that I've written, or that I've read, and I'd rather that teacher spend a little more time in the English and writing class than having these kids. I mean, I'd be embarrassed if I was a teacher of a senior, and this goes back to our funding situation. I know of a young man, not a young man, someone that's younger than I am, that their father-in-law came and told me this person graduated from a Des Moines Metro high school, graduated, and cannot read or write.
There you go.
Okay, so throwing more money to education does not correct the problem. I could show you all kinds of data that shows you money going up, performance going down.
Exactly right, Brad.
We've got to make true reforms in our education. Obviously, I'd start with parent choice and then go to local control. And I think if you do those two things, problem solved. Obviously, we got a problem with our curriculum, but there again, that should be a local decision.
Exactly right. Well spoken, and I applaud that. I mean, we need to have more of that.
Well, I don't even call them public school anymore. I call them government schools.
Well, they're an indoctrination school is what they are.
Yeah.
They rewrite history with the Common Core. And anyway, listen, I want every student to have the ability and the access to the best educational opportunities for them. We all want that.
Why don't you take some of those letters and send them to the teacher and say, now, I don't mean to offend you, and I'm not trying to upset you, but why would I give you more money when this is the result of your teaching a 18-year-old?
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that all the letters are written that way. Just there is a small group of them that are. Mac, I'm trying to find out who the teacher is on
Okay,
this.
good. Now, the punctuation thing is Twitter's fault. You understand that?
Well, then I'll have to blame Twitter for it.
Well, because Twitter, you have 144 characters.
Yeah.
And so when you put a comma space, that's 2 characters.
Yeah.
When you just run it all together, you save one. Well, you do that 3 or 4 times, and now you're saving all those characters.
Well,
I don't use Twitter, so
that might be part of the problem. But let me tell you this: as someone that's an employer, someone that works for a company, that's not acceptable for me.
No.
So the real world is not going to accept that. Twitter accounts and all that stuff, and I understand. I have a Twitter account, I have a Facebook account, and I make errors like everybody else does. And you get away with it on Twitter.
Okay.
Did any of those letters have what we call social media acronyms? Let me know is now LMK.
No.
Okay.
I was not capitalized.
These were emails, though, weren't they, that were sent
What
to
happened,
you?
we have one school in southwest Iowa that I'm sure that it was assignment for all seniors there. Mm-hmm. It was a rural school district, and I can't keep up with my emails. I mean, the teacher did a good job, but I'm guessing that this was a school assignment. And hey, listen, maybe it's a good idea for these kids to be involved and write letters.
Sure.
But based on some of the letters that I saw, how about the teacher spend a little bit more time trying to teach them how to write correctly rather than do this activism?
Were they close enough to the same talking points the teacher was telling them in essence what to say?
I mean, it was all about the 1.25%. But no, it was pretty creative. They let the teacher let them write free will what they are. But they had the talking points.
Okay.
I call them low information voters.
Yeah.
They get what they can off a 2-minute video on Twitter or on Facebook. They listen to MSNBC or CNN or any of the nightly news.
No, they listen to Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
That's who they listen to.
Yeah.
And then the other guy that's got the show out there. There's 2 of them they listen to.
Yeah.
And that's where they get their news.
Yeah.
They get their news on social media.
Well, the other guy you're talking about, is he going to be the replacement for Letterman when Letterman steps down?
No. Kids listen to Jon Stewart. I'm trying to think of the other show.
I know, HBO's.
But anyway, there's 2 I know this. I have teenagers and college kids.
Mm-hmm.
They never watch Fox News. They never watch CNN. They never watch
Right.
ABC, CBS, NBC. this new generation gets their information in a different place. Right. The Daily Show, and I'm not knocking Jon Stewart. I think he's very funny. He's having fun. He takes a satirical view of things.
Yeah.
And so I'm
a
not
little on
knocking
the left,
him.
though, isn't he?
Right. Well, yes, but I mean, that's not where you get your information. These kids are looking at trending. What's trending?
Yeah.
That's what they look
Right.
at. That's how they get their news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever the highest story that's getting clicked on, that's supposedly the most important
story.
story.
That's how they do it. I'm not blaming them. That's just
Sure.
how things have changed.
Well, that's how the Kardashians have become so famous. Do you realize those people did nothing?
Yeah.
They did nothing, but they kept hitting the Google trending,
Yeah.
and up and up and up and up went their deal.
When more people vote on the American Idol than do on our presidential elections, we have problems.
Yeah, we do. We do. Did you get that name? Steve Colbert.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, Stephen Colbert. And I'm also thinking of the horrible guy.
He is fun. They're both very funny. I enjoy watching them.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the horrible guy that's on HBO, and I can't think of him right now either.
Yeah, Bill Maher.
Bill Maher. Maher.
He's another one that's on the left. Now, isn't Colbert, is he the one that's going to step in and take over Letterman's spot?
I think so.
And he's even more, I've complained about Letterman being on the left. He's even worse than Letterman. We're not going from bad to better. We're going from bad to worse on there.
Well, I would have to agree with you. I've watched him, but the point I'm trying to make here was it's a free country. They can say whatever they want. That is how kids are getting their news.
Yep. And it's not news.
No, it's not. But anyway.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that we're out there giving our message as much as we can. I mean, Republicans have been behind all this stuff. And we're finally waking up and saying, hey, listen, the reason why, President Obama is a president is because of social media.
Yeah, absolutely. He wouldn't have been elected without it. All right. Speaking of President Obama, who's Brad's favorites? I mean, everybody's coming to Iowa. They've already started. There's a big event in Waukee coming up. Who looks good in the presidential race? We'll talk to Brad Zaun, State Senator, Iowa District 20, here on The View from a Pew on The Truth, 99.3.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
If you sit in the back pew or the front pew, it's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so call 244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
All right, 22 minutes before the top of the hour, 21st day of April in the Lord's year 2015. I date it because Brad Zaun is on now. If it's Saturday and you're listening to this, this has been pre-taped here on Tuesday, and we're playing it back. Something may change between now and then, but we're not sure. I'll share the good news with you again. I'm going to share it with you a lot because it's a big deal. I mean, we're having a baby. I mean, that's what it is for broadcasters. This wonderful radio station that is in Boone, Iowa, the Federal Communications Commission has given us the opportunity to expand that listenership. We will be covering about 1.3 million Iowans, 1.3 million Iowans. And it'll be the first 100% 24/7 gospel Christian station that Des Moines has had for many, many years. First time an FM's done it. And if you haven't heard the news, this show from 3 to 4 will be moving to 2 to 3. And you'll have plenty of time to know this. That's why I'm telling you. And then from 3 o'clock in the afternoon till 5 in the afternoon, the guy you love to hate, Steve Dace, will be back live on the radio with us Monday through Friday. So the guy that lit up Afternoon Drive for so many years here on WHO is now back on the radio live in prime time. Okay, hear me, because you say, well, Mac, I listen to Steve every night from 8 to 11 on your station or on another station. Yes, you do. But he will be live from 3 to 5, Monday through Friday, right here. The only place you'll get him live is right here.
Did I tell you, Mac? Did I share with you my? They called me the other day, wanted me to do some commercial advertising on the Spanish station here,
yes,
the one that Ed Fallon has moved to. I came back to him and I said, look, I'm the only one here in the whole office that's fluent in Spanish. I said, and I can't I can't be on call all the time to take your callers. I said, but I will tell you in all honesty that some people think me flunking out of a semester of high school Spanish and my frequent visits to resorts in Mexico don't necessarily qualify me for fluency in Spanish.
No, yeah, I know. Well, I've been in
Donde está el baño?
Huh?
Donde está el baño?
I don't know.
Where's the bathroom?
I know that.
Where's the bathroom?
I knew that. That's something you have to know when you're down in Mexico.
But from a radio standpoint, I mean, I've been in this market since 1978, and there's only been 3 or 4 radio stations in the history of communications that I've been around that will impact this market the way this move will, and this will be one of them. When I put the Dot on the air, we brought 107.5 in. If you remember back in 1995, and we called it the Dot, is 115,000 watt FM. It's now called KISS. The one prior to that was probably 98.3 because it was also licensed to Boone, and we brought that in 1991. Right. And so, and the other one would probably be what we call Laser, which is 103.3, and it's still called Laser, and it's actually licensed to Pella. So the FCC allows these move-ins because a larger area can be served. And I can't think of a better format than waking you up in the morning with preachers and then sending you to social commentary, which is what I call this. This isn't really political talk. We're talking politics today, but it's really social commentary. And then go back to preaching and teaching after 6 o'clock at night. So going to be a big deal. I'm just thankful the Lord let us do it. You know, we had a lot of people fighting us. We had 3 different people fight us over 4 years, went through 9 hearings. And I really think Jesus wants this station here. I really think he wants somebody on this radio station talking for him, whether it is politics, whether it is preaching and teaching, whatever it is. So the revolution, which always has love in it, is landing in central Iowa here in about 3 to 4 weeks. All right. Brad Zaun is our guest. Do you look forward to the next 9 months, given that everybody and their mother's going to come to Iowa who's running for president?
Yeah, I think that's a great privilege for us, the citizens of the state of Iowa. We certainly have a lot of impact on who our next president is. We're spoiled rotten because I think every one of us expect to have a conversation with whoever we're going to vote for president. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I've certainly heard a lot from several candidates, and we think in the Republican side, I think we've got a good group to pick from. And then on the Democratic side, I think you got a terrible group to pick from.
Yeah, short staffed, and
especially
a new scandal comes out
Hillary
just
Clinton
last night.
Yeah,
I mean, remember the young people don't remember with the Clintons, it was a scandal every week. And we're going to start to see that with Hillary. Yeah. The latest thing is a book coming out here soon that alleges that she took tens of millions of dollars from corporations and countries, in some cases like Saudi Arabia, that are very much opposed to her stated agenda, which is equal rights for women and homosexuals and da-da-da. And of course, if there was a woman the other day that was raped repeatedly in Saudi Arabia. Then she was arrested and given the lash. Because she was out without a male escort after her rape. I mean, this is the kind of entity that seeks to give money to the Clinton Foundation. By the way, guys, I saw a thing today said that 15% of the money that's in the Clinton Foundation is actually going to charity work. 15%. Wow. And so this is their funneling mechanism to get money then to... Now, the allegation is that she shifted federal policy as Secretary of State. Now, this is just the latest. There's many other things to come out. But now let's go back to who you like, Brad. You mentioned that you were spending some time with Governor Walker just recently. Besides the obvious front runner, Jeb Bush, Walker, who have you spent time with? Who do you like at this point?
Well, I think I've met every one of them, with the exception of Jeb Bush. At one time or another, they're all very impressive for their different things they've accomplished. I ended up, my wife and I did a lot of talking, a lot of research, prayed about this with Governor Scott Walker. And the reason why I did is, in fact, we were at your church, Mac. We had went to Mass there. I kind of think we need, we need someone with executive experience. There is no doubt he's been tested. I mean, he has had 3 elections in 4 years. He just mentioned today, $37 million was spent in his reelection this last time around. And most importantly, what have you gotten done since you've been governor? Mm-hmm. Now, I'll certainly I'll recognize that he works with a Republican House and a Republican Senate. Now, when he took over 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago, that was a red state. There was a Democratic governor. Democrats were controlling the House and the Senate, and he actually built onto that number this last time. Just based on what he's done. Of course, I'd like to have a conversation with him because we're all spoiled. And I did spend some time without the cameras running, and he is very, very impressive. The other thing, is this guy going to be able to do well, and is he going to participate in the Iowa caucuses? Well, he hired David Polyansky, and Josie Peterson, who ran Joni Ernst's campaign. Right. Okay, so they know the lay of the land. Another thing is we see so many candidates come out of the Iowa caucus, and then they just poodle out. They don't do anything. Mm-hmm. We could look at Rick Santorum. We could look at Mike Huckabee, and the list goes on.
Who else would be on your short list? I hear, and I agree with you on Walker. Who else is on the short list?
I'd rather not say it. I'm 100% engaged in Governor Walker's
I spent
campaign.
some time in the last couple of weeks with some guys that were mentioned in the paper today. A guy named Taylor and a guy named Matt that have come up from Louisiana to establish the Jindal campaign. Have you met either one of those guys yet?
No, I have not. I don't think.
And
I like Bobby Jindal.
And Bobby Jindal's accomplishment down in Louisiana, we were down at the club, at the cigar club, having a cigar, and they spent a lot of time telling me about very impressive background in Louisiana.
They're all very impressive.
his session is still open until, I think, early June, and then he'll probably announce. And
we have the same situation with Governor Walker, and I got to commend him. His number one job is to govern in the state of Wisconsin. We got him today for, probably 4 hours.
Well, we'll have to hopefully get him on the air.
I'll do what I can. I'll do what I can. Yes, I'll try, okay? I'm not running his campaign.
Oh, you're not?
And Jindal hired the guy that ran the David Young campaign.
That's
just
what
in
I
paper
heard.
Day.
We're coming back right here on The Truth. 99.3 KTIA, Iowa.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places. Especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart, and it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
If you sit in the back pew or the front pew, it's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so call 244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
All right, 10 minutes before 4 o'clock, Salem Radio Network News, and then Michael Mudloff with True Blue coming up at 4 o'clock. Now, I was telling you earlier about the new lineup on the station. I should start at 11 o'clock is Jay Seklow with a great political show. Then at noon, it's Pastor Michael Mudloff. So now he's on at 4 p.m. after me. He'll be on right before me, so you can have lunch with Michael Mudloff every day. Then me at 2 o'clock, and Steve Dace from 3 to 5. So that'll be the new lineup. I hate lineup changes. It's like changing the darn uniform on the football players. I can never tell who's who. But just let us do this for a while. Hang with us. Be patient. Be tolerant, please, and you'll get used to the new lineup. Everybody's going to be the same. Dr. Michael Brown, Hank the Bible Answer Man, Michael Mudloff, everything will be the same. We just got to get these things changed. It'll happen over the next 30 days or so. So, excuse me, I had to get that in there. Brad Zaun, District 20, in the house. Tom Coates here. I've been talking some of the stuff on the state legislature. What didn't make it through the funnel that disappointed you?
Education reform, true education reform. We really just, there's so many mandates on our schools, and that was very disappointing. That is the 800-pound gorilla in our state budget. That is the biggest problem we have in state government, is all the mandated laws that we put on our local school districts.
Just nuts.
Yeah, it's just terrible. And so that was very disappointing.
That's why I call them government schools.
Yeah, just very disappointing.
Yeah.
Just even if we could just, go with more local control. I certainly wish that the Department of Education, all the money coming out of D.C. would be block grants, and then we could come in and divvy that money out.
Let me ask you, there was a bill that I think passed through the Senate in regards to the fantasy football.
Okay.
I think it's gone over to the House. I was asked by one of your colleagues a while back what I thought of it. I said, I don't have a big problem with it unless it opens the door for the casinos to act as a new feeder market for young men that are drawn to the fantasy football. If it's, in a company, some guys getting around, doing a fantasy football, I have no problem with that. But what I envision is that the casinos in the state of Iowa, the 20 casinos, are going to use this as an avenue to bring young men into their environment. Before they get out, they'll be playing the video slots, and all of a sudden they've got a new feeder market for them. That's what I envision. And I do think that there is an avenue for the casinos to get involved. Are you familiar with this bill?
Yes, I am, and I really made a goof up on that bill. I had a student job shadowing with me, and I got called out of the chamber, and I could not get this person to finish up the conversation, and I knew I had to run in there, and I accidentally voted for it. I did get into the Journal and make a correction that I made a mistake, and it's the first time it's ever happened to me, but it does happen on occasion. I was opposed to that bill. I remember the touch play days, and to me this is just a foot in the door to expand gambling. I will tell you what was disturbing to me is it's called fantasy football, like you pick the players. It is that, but it's broader than that. It would be something that the casinos would be able to control, and that you could actually vote on quarters of games, every game. So it has had a lot of potential.
Yeah, don't you think that the young men will flock, on football day into the casino and get into the environment? And to me, I think this is a really bad deal. I hope it gets killed in the
Fantasy football is basically you pick the players and you watch them go through the season.
The season, yeah.
Okay. This is a quarterly.
This is a sports book.
This is a halftime. This is a everyday
This is like
event.
a Vegas sports book is what it is.
And so I've never been a supporter of expanding gambling. Now, I recognize that there's bars and there's clubs, men's clubs that have little, little teams or pools that they do. I really have no problem, $1 a game or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I really do have a problem with that bill, and if it ever does come back to the Senate, I will be opposed. Admitting to the mistake I made earlier.
All right, thank you,
You
Brad.
just said dollar show like at those small men's clubs.
I mean, there's been pools like I used to have that hardware store on Douglas.
Stormy's
used to have a dollar
You throw
pool.
in $2,500 to the NCAA, and you randomly were picked teams, and it gave us something to do. But it's
at Tom's private club. This is how conservative they are. It's a nickel. Because Tom won't spend more than 5 or 6 cents on this kind of stuff. So dollar's a little spendy.
He runs that business to make people responsible.
Tell us real quick about the medical marijuana
I
bill.
did support the medical cannabis bill. I want to make it very clear to everyone that this is not recreational marijuana. This is the bill that I supported. You cannot smoke. But here's where I made my decision. It was very controversial. I do know of parents that have broken the law, went to Colorado, got the oil or the ointment that you put on their child, or in this particular case, it was someone with epilepsy, that it absolutely took their seizures from about 50 to maybe 1 per day by using this oil. I personally believe that the government has no business in getting between the doctor and what he thinks is the best remedy for an individual's case. And quite frankly, I think Republicans were wrong on this issue, and I did vote for it, and I'm excited. And if it helps 50% of the people that are out there that have seizures or PTSD or cancer or whatever that is, I'm very happy to support that.
Well, I heard your name on the news the other day as the only Republican to vote for it in the Iowa Senate.
I was the deciding vote because one Democrat did not vote for that bill. So I made my mind up. I did a ton of research on this. It was an emotional decision, and I would never support recreational use of marijuana.
Like Colorado, a horrible deal.
All right, Brad, appreciate you being here.
It's an honor to be here. I love you guys.
Love you too. Thanks for doing what you do. And thanks for being genuine. You know what I mean? I mean, you just don't get caught up in all the rigmarole that goes up there. And I don't know how long you're going to be able to do it. It's got to just wear you out, fighting the current all the time.
I'm right now having a conversation between myself and others, my family, and certainly prayerful conversations about what I want to do in the future.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that I'm getting down to the end of my public service.
Good. Well, you've had a lot of it. City council, mayor, now state legislator.
Well, thank you for all your service, Brad. It has been appreciated. And you were the only elected Metro official that would come up and stand with us when we tried to oppose the slot machines out at Prairie Meadows, and that was a tough stand too.
It was a long time ago.
All right, I will see you tomorrow. Ron Callum will be here along with Frank the Verse Thomas. Until I see you again, remember, you got somebody in the back of your head that lives there rent-free, and they drive you crazy because you just won't forgive them because what they did was so bad to you. Well, tonight, on your knees in front of Jesus, forgive them, because as you forgive, you shall be forgiven. I'll see you in church.